I'm good to go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. This is Live from the Table, the official podcast of the world-famous Comedy Cellar, available wherever you get your podcasts, and available on YouTube, which is, I think, the way most people do it nowadays. You know, people like audio and video.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Dan Naturman here, Comedy Cellar comic, and with Noam Dworman, the owner of the Comedy Cellar.
Citizen of the borough of Manhattan.
I am. I've been a long time since the 90s. Since the 90s, as I was explaining earlier to our guests. Well, I'll get to that. Periel is here as usual. Periel Aschenbrand. And boy, what a guest we have today. We have a New York institution. This guy, I've heard of him since I was a kid in the 80s. Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels. He's running for mayor.
I've never been to the Comedy Cellar. I used to have a headquarters for the Guardian Angels in the early 80s at the Judson Memorial Church.
That's right here, yeah.
Where I had one of my many marriages. Reverend Moody, I remember. I do. We could patrol the whole area, Washington Square Park at that time. Nickel and dime bag Rastafarians who just was selling oregano instead of the real deal and causing fights. But yeah, I was up and down McDougal. I think you got a gun club down the block.
Yeah. It's like 3 something.
Restaurant and gun club. So you get your rigatoni if you're a crooked politician, and then you go down and you shoot targets.
So, sir, first of all, we're very, very happy to have you. You were, as he said, you're a New York institution. When I was younger, when Dan was younger, if you had to walk around a sketchy neighborhood in New York and you saw a guardian angel, you breathed a sigh of relief. You guys were unarmed. You were brave. Did any guardian angels die?
Yeah. In fact, people ask me, why you wear that red beret, especially when you're running for mayor. It's the second time I'm running. 2021, the first time. I warned everybody about Eric Adams being corrupt and we would have chaos. And now everybody goes, oh, you were so right. Well, you didn't vote for me, enough of you, or we could have avoided that. But people say, well, why do you wear that red beret? In honor of 6 who were killed in the line of duty, guardian angels, 3 dozen seriously injured. And when I'm in the subways, because I'm the only candidate that actually rides the subway every day to campaign, and I'm out in the streets, people understand that red beret you can come to, especially when you're in need, especially the emotionally disturbed and the homeless that unfortunately are everywhere in our city, especially the subways.
Can I ask you a question? What motivated young people at that time to risk their lives to fight crime as your guardian angels did?
Well, I was a night manager at Mickey D's McDonald's in 1979. It was at the time of that cult movie classic, The Warriors.
Warriors, yeah.
So it'll give you a pretty good idea what the main problem was back then. Gangs, street gangs. Right. And there were way more street gang members than there were cops. And late at night, they did not have transit police riding the subways in the off-peak hours, 7 at night to 5 in the morning, because they had made draconian cuts into the budget. And since I had to close up to Mickey D's in a very tough area, I just brainwashed my closing crew that we might as well start patrolling the trains on the way home. They called us the Burger Boys first. Then we involved into the Guardian Angels. And I'll never forget, I thought what I was doing was so good, so heroic. And then Ed Koch, thank God there was no TikTok then and social networking, because he was the master of the soundbite, called us vigilantes, thugs, gangbangers. And I said, wow, what a ride this is going to be. And the first 13 years were really bad, because I was getting arrested almost every other month and spending time on Rikers Island. So I got a chance to firsthand know and see how Rikers Island operates, from the dormitories to the Bing to PC, protective custody, or what the inmates call Punk City. So I was able to sort of get the feel of New York being an outlier until we were accepted when Rudy Giuliani was elected mayor, and then we've had no problem since.
Go ahead, you had no question?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to know, you were unarmed. Why didn't you, you didn't have bulletproof vests or some sort of non-lethal weapons that were legal that you could have carried?
No. Look, enough weapons out there. So the whole idea here is we're supposed to be peacemakers. So we're getting involved in very difficult situations. If our adversaries thought that we were strapped or carrying any kind of weapons, they would immediately reach for their weapons.
Right.
Now, obviously, you're walking a fine line there when so many people revert to violence. In fact, in June 19th of 1992, I was shot 5 times with hollow point bullets. on the orders of John Gotti Sr., the John Gotti Jr., and the Gambino crime
family. This is in the taxi?
In the taxi.
And you opened the window and you jumped out of the window or something?
Well, the window was already open, so I had no other choice but to dive out of a speeding cab.
It's an amazing story.
And I was able to survive that. They just assumed that I would be dead and buried. And then eventually, 12 years later, John Gotti Jr. got arrested for the attempted murder, kidnapping occurred at Sliwa with Michael Iannati, who got 20 years for shooting me, and 4 separate federal trials. So I got a chance to look at the criminal justice system up and close and personal.
Last question before we get to the mayor.
Yes.
Just because, by the way, we had a mutual friend, I believe, Roy Innes.
Oh, yeah.
So my family was very close with Roy Innes, and for a while his son Nigel, although I haven't seen him in many years. And I saw you from time to time at those core dinners they have, or they used to have. I don't know if they still have them. But yeah, he was a dear friend, especially of my father's. Very unusual man, very bright man.
Oh, yeah, strong.
Yeah.
Real strong. Now, the last time I saw Roy Innes, I'm visiting my mother, Francesca. She's no longer with us at the Hebrew Home for the Aged. She was having rehab on her hip. She had thankfully not broken her hip, but seriously bruised it. So I go up to all the wards. You know, I start visiting the nurses, the physicians, the patients, families. And who do I see in one of the wards? Roy Innes. In his last days, suffering from severe dementia. He did not recognize me. You know what a hulk of a man he was, now shrunk. This is part of the problems in our society, is that when people come down with dementia and Alzheimer's, it's almost like they're tucked away. And you always say, whatever happened to that person?
Yeah.
They never adequately tell you, because it's sort of like when I was a kid and somebody died of cancer. Nobody ever said cancer in the 60s. Oh, no, you couldn't say cancer. Oh, he had a problem. He had a heart problem. Yeah. Did he have cancer? Oh, you can't say cancer around here. And that's the way we're treating dementia and Alzheimer's. I mean, Roy Innes, Congress of Racial Equality's chairman, was bright.
Yes.
I mean, he was sharp. And in his waning days, he didn't even recognize me.
Yeah, and he'd become very frail.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. Anyway, so, okay, you're running for mayor. Before we get into your candidacy, I would like for you to prognosticate for us. What will the city look like under Mayor Mamdani? What is it that we're trying to avoid? What do you see his administration bringing to New York?
So you use a $5 word on me, prognosticate. What do you think, I'm Nostradamus here?
I heard Ron Kuby say it to you one time.
Exactly, whose mommy was a commie, my former partner. Oh, he probably is all for toots. Loving Zorhan Mandami, you know. First off, it's interesting because I don't fear people being communists, socialists. We've had communists and socialists in our city government for the last century. You don't fear that. That's a political ideology I don't share. You let the people make the determinations. Then he gets called an anti-Semite, and he doesn't back away. He just doubles down. And then I look to all my Jewish friends and I say, oh, you influencers did a really good job, right? 40% of your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren voted for Zorhan Mandami. So it's a generational divide. Mm-hmm. I'm a baby boomer. I grew up in the 60s. Your parents told you, don't grow your hair long. What'd you do? Grow your hair long. Don't smoke ragweed. What'd you do? You smoke ragweed. Don't go to a concert. You went to the concert. Don't trust anybody over 30. My first vote was for George McGovern against Richard Nixon, and I joined 1 million people protesting the war upon his inauguration because Nixon had lied in '68, said, oh, I'm going to end the Vietnam War. He expanded it, the secret war in Laos and in nearby Cambodia. So in that era, we didn't trust authority. We didn't trust our parents. We didn't trust those that were our seniors. And so you evolve. And this is what's happening again in 2025. So with Zorhan Mandami, I think of the song Sade, Smooth Operator. Oh, God, he is so smooth. And I believe, I don't know this to be a fact, that he probably has watched the best of Barack Obama over and over and over, because he has some of those same traits.
Yeah.
And he has a philosophy that's alien to mine, but it's been a growing philosophy within the ranks of the Democratic Party. They have not confronted it. And they are just about generationally soon to take over the party. It started with Bernie the Altakaka Sanders, who beat Hillary in the primary 2016, and then he lost because of the superdelegates, but she wanted him in. He's never been a Democrat.
I'm trying to. What I really want, I want you to scare the shit out of us. What is it that we should vote for you to avoid? What will he bring to the city? Describe that dark cloud?
Well, it's not just
that
him.
Dystopian future we have.
It's Andy Cuomo smacking fannies and killing grannies. I mean, come on.
One at a time. What do you fear Mamdani will bring to men?
First of all, he's hopelessly naive. He really is. He's lived a very sheltered life. He's been a trust fund kid, privileged life. He has these ideas that we all had when we were young that, come see, come saw, live and let live. Capitalism is no good. Incentive is no good. Meritocracy is no good. But he's benefited from that. He went to Bronx High School of Science. And as much as Eric Adams at that time, before he was one and done, he could have taken a seat in Columbia from an African-American student. I say, schmuck putz. His father was the chairman of the African-American Studies Division, and he didn't even get legacy. They didn't accept him into Columbia. He had to go up to Bowdoin, Maine. You'd have to find it on the map. So I just believe that his experiences have not lent itself to understand what average, everyday working-class people have to go through. I'm sort of the populist, blue-collar, working-class candidate. Mm-hmm. He is the candidate of the white-collar millennials, Gen Zers, who were told, if you go 4 years of college, get a graduate degree like my wife, you'll be able to afford your own house, your American dream, and you end up at 35 years old in an apartment as if you're living in a dormitory with 4 other roommates. And now I understand why they're pissed, because you got to pay your student loans at the beginning of the month, and you barely have enough money for rent. So I completely understand why he's had an appeal. I don't fear Zoran Mamdani. But I just know when it comes to crime, public safety, that's his Achilles heel. He has no understanding. For instance, domestic disputes, he wants to send social workers. Yet he is now protected by armed police officers because of threats made against him, and I'm sure he's getting a lot. But it's do as I say, not as I do. And he's not open to suggestion. He seems to act somewhat omnipotent about public safety when he really knows nothing about the streets or the subways or dealing with day-to-day life matters. And so that's where we differentiate severely. So public safety will be back to where we were in the 70s.
What about for businesses?
For businesses, the big boys, the billionaires, they've already figured out.
No, the small businesses like me.
No, they get crushed because not only the fees and fines will increase, if you own the building you operate in or live in, property taxes continue to go up. And by the way, your complexion will not be your protection because he has already said the Caucasoids, if you own your property, you're going to pay more property tax. You can imagine I'm running, saying, Asians are buying a lot of houses now. They seem to be doing very well. I'm going to charge them an Asian tax on their property tax.
He can't do that. I mean, I know he said something like that years ago, but he can't do that.
Do you know that when you go into Brooklyn Heights, the Slope, you go to the Carroll Gardens and you ask a lot of those millennials, many of them who haven't been here, but maybe the last 10 years, and you said, Zoran said you should pay more property tax. They say, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
But we agree it's not legal. I mean, it's not actually something they can do.
Well,
it's a mentality which seeps down in other ways.
It'll be challenged in court, but he has allies in the city council. There are 51, and there are many Zoranistas in the city council already. Let me tell you a little inside baseball information. The mother of my 2 youngest sons is Melinda Katz. She is the Queens District Attorney Democrat. She was a city councilwoman, assemblywoman, charge of land use, borough president, moderate, Jewish, was considered a slam dunk to become the DA. It was a special election. Ducktown DA Brown had died. That was the name of the DA. And she was running against somebody named Tiffany Caban, who was the mini-me of AOC. She wasn't even in elected office. Melinda Katz lost the election to Tiffany Caban. Only on the absentee ballots did she win. Do you know who the field organizer and operator to get out the vote was for Tiffany Caban?
Zoran Mamdani?
Yes. So he's learned the art of politics, retail politics well. That much he's put in a lot of time. I've seen him in operation. He's good at what he does. The DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, and the Working Families Party, they know good old-fashioned retail politics. And the moderate Democrats, they're too busy to go out one day campaigning, and they got to drink Geritol and take a Bengay bath. And then you don't see them for another week.
I know how. So that's the Mamdani, vision. And how does it differ from the Cuomo administration that you would foresee?
Well, at least if you're 22 and Cuomo loves you, you wouldn't be afraid to have women in the same room with Zoran Mamdani. That much I'm sure. That guy's a perv. 13 acts of sexual harassment as governor against everybody who worked for him and loved him, including his state trooper. The 15,000 elderly that died under
Okay, but you're a Trump supporter, correct?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not a Trump supporter?
Trump ain't supporting me. Haven't you seen that?
But prior, like you supported him over Kamala
Harris. In the last election, I supported him over, Biden and Harris did.
I mean, he's had accusations of sexual...
Never like this.
Never?
13, including a state trooper. I didn't do it. The 15,000 elderly who died because of his executive order. No, it wasn't me. It's sort of the guy is incapable of humbling himself and apologizing because he really thinks he's entitled. He ran a primary. He was 40 points ahead in the primary 2 months before. And he spent all of his time with his billionaire friends in the Hamptons. And then he apologized. Oh, no, I'll try better this time. I still don't see him in the streets.
Okay, but a serious question.
Yes.
I'm going to accept, for the sake of argument, all these personal flaws of these people. Nevertheless, as a citizen, as much as I would like to have a man of good character as my mayor, in the end, it's still more important for me to have the better policies because my family eats or not, or thrives or not, based on the policies of the mayor. And if Mamdani is a choir boy and Cuomo is lecherous, but Mamdani's policies are going to put me out of business and Cuomo's policies are going to allow me to thrive, I'm still going to have to vote for Cuomo, right?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because they share more in common than they have in opposition to one another. No cash bail that has turned all these criminals loose. That wasn't Zoran Mamdani. He supports it. That was Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
Raise the age to 18 that has allowed all these juvenile gangbangers to go out shooting one another. The highest level of juvenile gang activity we've had since the 80s is a result of Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was the one who announced he wanted to close Rikers Island. Said in 2018, we need to close Rikers Island without having an alternative. He paved the way for all of this. So,
and this was him buckling to the woke at the time, correct?
Well, because he thought if you become liberal and progressive, it'll put you on a path to the presidency. You see, it's never about what's in our best interest. It's always in what is their best interest. It's me, I and me instead of us and we. So when I look at the both of them, I don't see a separation, to be honest with you. It's a two-headed hydra to me. And Andrew Cuomo had his chance, and he destroyed the state of New York. So why would you give him a chance to destroy the city, too?
Now, he tried to bribe you?
Oh, well, not directly, but through his minions, people that I've grown up with. Hey, Curtis, come on. Everybody has a price. Come on, Curtis. You know you can't win this. You're a Republican. What's your price, Curtis? And then they make remember the old Monty Hall, let's make a deal?
Yeah, of course.
It's the same one that Eric Adams had, except he was waiting for Bob Barker's The Price is Right. And his price finally became right this past Sunday at 1 o'clock. I mean, that guy was always getting wine dined in pocket line. But me, you can't buy, you can't lease, you can't. So after the seventh call from friends of Cuomo who had known me and growing up, my wife was listening to the last call. She's a lawyer. She said, Curtis, you got to put them on blast. Just having conversations with them about this makes it seem like you're complicit, like somehow you're listening, you're interested, but the ante ain't high enough, and I put them all on blast. And I have not been contacted since because I told them I'm wired up like a Christmas tree. You talk to me on the phone, Alvin Bragg, the DA, is going to be listening to your conversation. That ended it.
All right. I looked up some polls here. New York Times, this is a month old already. In a three-way race, Andrew Cuomo, Zoran Mamdani, and Curtis Sliwa, Mamdani wins 46% over 24% for Cuomo and 15% for Sliwa. In a two-way race between Zoran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo, Mamdani is up Well, it's actually, it's within the margin of error, 48 to 44, but the margin of error is around 4 points. So actually, that could be a Cuomo ahead as well. This is the question I'm sure everybody wants to know. Given the fact that
there's no numbers for Zoran Sliwa.
What's that?
Mamdani Sliwa.
There's no numbers for that, but it's not good. There's no option of.
Wait, how come? How come they couldn't put me one-on-one with Zoran? You think there's a little prejudice there in the New York Times polling?
I hadn't thought of that, and fair enough. But still, the question is, from my point of view,
yes,
Cuomo is the moderate, and Mamdani is the unknown and kind of scary. Might work out, we don't know. And you could make the difference while, respectfully, maybe having no chance to win, right? You understand the question. What's your answer?
No, I don't. Because
the question,
I would have to say, when was the last poll correct? Do we remember Trump-Harris? Remember, it was supposed to be neck and neck. He not only won the 7 battleground states, he won the popular vote, right? It's neck and neck. And then Cuomo, 2 months before, 40 points ahead of Zoran Mamdani. He got his ass kicked by 13 points. You think maybe the polls are not an accurate indication of the people's feelings? Or maybe it's just Cuomo's name recognition and that people are responding to that. But there's no love for Cuomo. People hate this guy. Look at his unfavorables. Everybody loves Curtis. Yeah. A lot of people love Zoran. So let the people decide. I thought in our country we have votes. I never heard of people dropping out before. And by the way, the only person ever to drop out before is Andrew Cuomo. He dropped out running for governor against Carl McCall. And then when he was going to be impeached, he dropped out of being governor and fled to the Hamptons. So he's the king of dropouts. Why would I drop out?
Well,
it's a good T-shirt. Everyone loves Curtis. That's a good campaign.
But now they have to.
Will you model it, Periel?
Yes, I will.
Now they have
I love that.
We have important, famous examples of third-party candidates swinging votes. Ross Perot, Pat Buchanan, maybe Nader. So, let me ask you this then: if you yourself in your heart felt that you were that you couldn't win, that you would swing the vote from Cuomo to Mamdani, would you back out then?
Let me ask you a question. You think everybody who backs me is going to vote for Cuomo?
Well, the polls, it's interesting because the polls here show almost the entire Sliwa vote moving to Cuomo. It was 46%, and then it was 24%, and then it goes to 44%.
Yeah.
And Mamdani stays exactly the same.
Like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You keep thinking that, Butch. You keep thinking that. Sliwa supporters are not voting for Cuomo. You know what they'll do if I were to drop out? Or let's say get hit by a Mack truck and be in the ICU incapable of completing this campaign with a month ago. They wouldn't show up. They wouldn't show up. They won't vote for Cuomo. They just won't vote.
All right, so fair enough then. So how do you get the word out? Because I'm sure you're having trouble getting airtime, right?
No. Are you kidding? I've raised more money than Eric Adams, that crook, Cuomo, and in this last quarter, Zoran has locally. You get an 8-1 match. I have more money than all of them, and I've had 3 TV commercials with 3 more on the way. Unlike this recent Cuomo commercial, have you seen it? He's up there on a scaffold. He's actually a squeegee man looking into a window, and I'm wondering which girl is he perving on in that window? Do they not realize when they make these commercials? And they spend millions on these commercials. They're horrible. Now, Zoran, to his credit, his mother a filmmaker, he was a filmmaker. He's highly produced. I'm more gritty. I'm more sort of like, remember The Wire. Remember that great program, The Wire, about the streets of Baltimore? So I'm gritty. I'm real. Zoran is highly produced. And Andrew Cuomo needs to act his age because he's a dollar short and a day late. His time has come. It's done. He's lost the gas in his tank.
Sir, I don't know about the politics, and I'm going to let you guys get answer questions, but I just want to tell you, you are a treasure. You are a one-of-a-kind personality. I'm very happy to meet you. I am very impressed by you. How old are you?
71.
Your mind is quick as hell.
Well, 71 is not... I don't think 71's quite old enough to say your mind is quick.
I would say...
If it was 81, you might say that.
Well, I'm judging by my own slowing down at 63. And in any case, honestly, from my heart, you are terrific. But
now you patronized me here.
How's that?
I didn't get your vote.
I live in Westchester.
What? Are you a Democrat? If you're a Democrat, you can vote many, many, many times from.
I'm not registered in any party.
You can vote from Westchester.
No, I'm only kidding. I should be doing comedy here.
I'm an illegal immigrant, so I can vote.
Exactly. Oh, now you can vote, definitely.
Dan, you have some questions. You're a citizen of
Well, yeah,
New York.
I'm a citizen. So, let's talk about your platform. You know, crime and law and order seem to be the central theme. So what can we expect from the Sliwa administration in terms of that?
What can you expect? The first ever animal protection independent line created by my wife. No kill shelters. Animal abusers go to jail. So, see, people don't have to vote for me as a Republican. There's an independent line. And I know guys, they like to make fun of that, but you know how many women are into animal rescue and loving animals? And by the way,
you rescued a lot of cats, right? I read that at one point.
Don't tell Cuomo he'll be adopting animals.
No, he had a dog, a husky called Capitan. Nobody has seen Capitan. He has mysteriously disappeared. Sort of like, remember Bill Clinton's black lab up in Chappaqua, the whitest suburb in America where even the lawn jockeys are white. Remember all of a sudden, Buddy, his black lab, mysteriously, like so many friends of Bill and Hillary.
Now, you don't actually think friends of Bill and Hillary meet nefarious deaths, do you?
No, I'm just telling you what I've read online.
But
I don't believe everything I read online here.
No, but actually, I'm serious. Do you? Because someone that I was shocked to hear him say it actually believed, who actually is connected and knows a lot of things that go on in Washington, actually believed that Bill Clinton was involved in the deaths of people.
No, I don't believe.
You don't
that.
believe it.
Now I believe that. He certainly may have been involved with a man named Epstein.
Okay, but wait, I don't want to get sidetracked. Like I said before we got on air, I'm a third-generation New Yorker. You've been really iconic.
Yes.
What can we do to help you get elected? I'm terrified of Mamdani. I've been a pretty far left-wing voter.
Far?
My whole life.
They don't get more left-wing than you.
And I think I've been on the subway since I'm a kid. Like, I think Mamdani is going to destroy this fucking city. Excuse my language. What can we do to?
Well, you have to get people to vote. In the 60s, when I was growing up, I'm a baby boomer, 80% of the registered voters voted for mayor because they felt they had to. We were trained in school, taught. You know, people died for your right to vote.
Yeah.
Remember Pearl Harbor? Oh, I can't get that out of my head. You almost felt guilty if you didn't vote. 80% of the registered voters. You know what percentage of the registered voters voted the last time when I ran against Eric Adams? 24%.
That is shameful.
Right.
For all of the parents out there with teenagers, we know you're already trying to keep a million different things under control. Cash App is here to help make sure your teen's money and their spending isn't adding to that craziness. With the Cash App card available to teens 13 to 17, with sponsorship by an eligible parent or guardian, every transaction triggers a real-time notification for you to see, empowering your teen to practice independence while giving you peace of mind by keeping track of their spending. Manage everything directly from your own Cash App account without having to switch between the two, making it simple to stay connected to your teen's financial activity in a way that's both efficient and empowering. Finally, no one wants unnecessary surprises. With Cash App, there are no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no hidden charges when sending or receiving money. With the Cash App card, you and your teen's balances receive 24/7 fraud monitoring. And if something ever feels off, you have the ability to lock their card right from your phone in just one tap. Parents, it's time to start focusing on your teen's financial learning and growth instead of stressing about the fine print. If you're ready to give your teen more independence while staying in the loop, start by downloading Cash App and setting up their account today. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download Cash App, use code FAMILY10, FAMILY 10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Direct deposit, roundups, overdraft coverage, and discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
Now, a lot more people voted in this primary because of the excitement around it. I expect more people to vote in the general because it has international, national, regional, local ramifications. But it will not approach the voting levels of the 50s when 90% voted, 80% in the 60s, and when Rudy ran against Stinkins, 60% of the registered voters participated.
And that's interesting. Is that perhaps because we were closer in time to World War II, and so there was this sense that people had just, hundreds of thousands of Americans had just died?
Part of that, but part of it is I have 3 sons, and they do relatively well in public school. And I ask him, Hunter's my youngest, Hunter, you have civics? He goes, what's civics? We used to have that mandatory in public school. You learned about the purpose of government, the reason you vote, everything that goes into government. Hunter, do you have current events? No, Daddy. Why not? They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Hunter, are they teaching you about 9/11, the attack of 9/11? No, Daddy, they don't want to hurt people's feelings. Did they teach you? And Hunter's Jewish. Hunter, did they teach you about the Holocaust in school? No, Daddy. They teach you about anti-Semitism, the dangers? No, Daddy. We're spending $42,000 a student, $41 billion, 1/3 of our budget of $118 billion for the Department of Education, and we're not even teaching our children the basics. I know when I was growing up, we learned all of that.
They still do a Pledge of Allegiance. I guess as not in high school, but we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance every day in elementary school. I don't know if that's still a thing.
And then remember, we looked at the Jehovah's Witnesses who wouldn't stand up and wouldn't do the pledge. What's wrong with them? And the teacher had it's their religious beliefs.
I don't think we had any of those in our.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, that's right. You were in Connecticut.
Yeah. Well, I assume there's Jehovah's Witnesses in Connecticut, but I don't recall any at school.
I remember seeing them I went to a game in Shea Stadium, and, played the national anthem. It was against the St. Louis Cardinals. Dick Allen was the big star of the Cardinals. I saw this whole group was not standing during the national anthem. And then an usher had to tell me, don't make a big deal about it. They're Jehovah's Witnesses. It's part of their religion.
So you're right. When I was a kid, the mayoral elections were a very, very big deal. I remember the name like Biaggi and Badillo and Beam and
wow, that's good memory recall.
Yeah, you remember. You obviously remember those names.
I remember. Let me give you a date. 1977. I'm thinking Reggie Jackson, 3 home runs. Yankees win. Dodgers gone. Right? Tommy Lasorda gone. So I'm focused on baseball. And yet I'm watching Gabe Pressman, NBC. He was the dean of broadcasters. There were 4 men running. Ed Koch, who was running on a pro-death penalty platform. A mayor has nothing to do with the death penalty. Mario Cuomo was running as a liberal, anti-death penalty. A guy named Barry Farber, a wordsmith.
Oh, I know him. He's a Southern guy.
Talk show host, by the way, was running.
Yeah, he was a multilinguist and radio show host.
He coined the phrase like 2 scorpions in a brandy glass. He was running as a conservative. And then you had the heir to the X-Lax fortune, Roy Goodman, who was the old Rockefeller liberal state senator from the Upper East Side running. Do you know they had 12 debates? 12 debates. So you got your belly full of hearing all 4 of them. Ed Koch went on to win. And the defining issue of that campaign was the death penalty, which a mayor has nothing to do with. The defining issue of this campaign, when all is said and done, may be what's going on in Gaza now between Hamas and Israel. And you say, what does a mayor have to do with what's going on in the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, Gaza, between Hamas and Israel? Nothing, but it's great for those running for office to distract the voters so that you don't have to talk about the real issues that a mayor is going to have to tackle and deal with.
But it's interesting you're saying that because, all right, the death penalty is not a city issue, but at least a mayor who supported the death penalty, he was communicating a certain tough view of how he would treat crime. So you interpreted something from that. Israel-Gaza has nothing to do with anything that any citizen could interpret on any policy, except as, I guess, a signal that I'm part of the far progressive left, right? It's a good shorthand for all the policies that a progressive left-winger would like to know that his mayor favors are all summed up by complaining about
or the right Israel. Wings that support Bibi and support Israel versus Hamas and Gaza. And for the first time in 2 years, as we approach October 7th, if you believe in polls, most New York City residents are more sympathetic to the Palestinian cause than the Israeli cause. How did that happen?
Tell us.
Because Zoran Mandami, on October 8th, the day after the attack of October 7th, was leading a protest in Times Square for the DSA. He was the leader attacking Israel. Now, do you believe that a guy like that could ever have been elected mayor of the city of New York, in the most Jewish of all cities? I say to my fellow Jewish friends, this is the Day of Atonement. You better sit your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren down and explain to them the dangers of a Zoran Mandami, because 40% of them voted for Zoran Mandami in the Democratic
What
primary.
are the dangers?
The dangers are is that he has not retreated from that position, although I hear on The View today he finally denounced Hamas. This gets like pulling teeth with this guy to get him to do anything as he gets closer to potentially being mayor. But I truly believe that if you happen to have been born and raised Jewish, you have to look at this guy and say, is he a threat like individuals in history have been a threat before? Is it the fact that he is such a smooth operator? Whenever I see Zoran Mandami, I think of that song Sade, Smooth Operator. Because, man, he's smooth.
No, I mean, if you liked his policies, could you bring yourself to vote for him if you were opposed to his stance on Israel-Palestine? Because you're very passionate about that issue, but you could overlook that.
If I liked his policies, I could overlook. I wouldn't like it, but when you're presented with some binary or tertiary, what's is it? I don't know what the triple is. A choice between three. You have to choose. Who you think will be best. So I could. Could you?
No, I don't. I mean, well, I guess it would depend who he's running against. But if I thought he was hostile to Jews, it wouldn't matter how much I liked his policies. I wouldn't vote for him.
Yeah.
He still won't condemn globalize the Intifada. I just watched a clip yesterday.
All right. You have any questions for the next minute?
See how much of this conversation is about something that a mayor has absolutely no role in.
No,
whatsoever.
Being potentially dangerous and hostile toward Jews is very relevant.
Well, it's like if you think a candidate's a rapist or a sexual predator, that even if it's even if you like his policies, that his character isn't nothing. It
of
does
course
count.
not. I mean, I wouldn't
nothing.
want to vote for somebody that was hostile against black people or gay people. So it's not that different.
No, I know, but if the very group that's being targeted, 40% of them have voted for him.
Well, people.
What does that say?
Well, that they're idiots.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, people have historically voted against their interests many times, right?
But again, it's been on. He hasn't retreated from it. He's been very open about his feelings. And yet in a Democratic primary where Andrew Cuomo went to every synagogue and said anti-Semitism was the number one issue, which according to the polls, if you believe the polls, it's not. Cost of living, rent too high to pay, crime, quality of life. 40%. And when I speak to Jewish groups, they say to me, I don't believe that poll. Oh, but you believe the poll that I don't have a chance to be mayor.
Okay, so
you selectively believe what parts of the poll you ought to believe in.
So other than the cats,
yes.
What are we gonna get when
actually
when you're our mayor? If I'm bringing it into
well, I think
Corinne Fisher is out, by the way.
Can I zero it in on that because there's something that drives me crazy as a business owner in New York. When we were young, you remember the I Love New York commercials?
Oh, sure.
And how were they selling New York back then? It's open all night. The city that never sleeps. It never closes. This was a tremendous... New York wore this as a badge of honor, that New York was a raucous 4 a.m. open town where you could go drinking.
Well, there is an exemption.
Yeah.
The swagger man with no plan, Eric Adams, found every club in New York City that was open till 4 o'clock in the morning.
But now... if you want to open a business, the first thing the community board wants you to do is promise to close by midnight.
Mm-hmm.
They have, I understand in Gramercy Park how they might feel, but this is Greenwich Village.
Yes.
This is the most famous nightlife neighborhood maybe in the world. And they come down now and they try to suppress and snuff out any signs of people out having a good time. And of course, they do make a little noise when they're out having a good time.
Well,
but I think this is killing New York.
I agree with you because remember, for a while, the Guardian Angels were housed in the Judson Memorial Church, the basement there. It's always been a bohemian area. It's always been a round-the-clock area. But it's also had some problems of late of people coming in and creating problems. Drug users, drug dealers.
Of late,
fights.
It's always been.
I know, but more severe now than I've seen it in a long time.
Yes.
And that's because the quality of life is diminished. So if you're a preservationist, of which some people are, they say, well, no, we got to cap it. Your business gets hurt. Restaurants get hurt. Bars get hurt, which are an integral part of not only the business fabric, but a lot of women who are the majority of the workers now, not only own and operate nightclubs, bars, and restaurants, but they manage them, they work in them. That's how they raise their families. And it's hurting everyone down the line. So if the quality of life improves, as public safety improves, there'll be less resistance to staying open to the break of dawn. I agree with you.
For a long time.
I had to go get Advil for my wife on Columbus Avenue. We live on the Upper West Side. I had to walk up and down. The only people selling Advil was a smoke shop, and I wasn't going to be seen walking in with a red beret into a smoke shop. And it felt like Cleveland. 11 o'clock at night, the place was dead.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
And there's a system with the community boards where these old biddies, people have nothing better to do in their lives, get in charge, and they have a tremendous effect on people. And what was very informative, because they had basically shut down sidewalk cafes, the community board, CB2, in this part of town. And every year, fewer and fewer. And then COVID came. We had all those outdoor cafes again.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out everybody loved them.
Yep.
So what it brought out to me was that actually this community board did not represent the citizens at all. Actually, the citizens of Greenwich Village liked the idea that they could sit in an outdoor cafe. And it was just these people on community boards. They moved here when they were young because Greenwich Village was a hip neighborhood to move to. And they became old, and they got their rent control apartments, and they don't ever want to leave, and they want to change the neighborhood to reflect their age, rather than move to a neighborhood that's appropriate for their age.
Notice how he says old age, and he keeps looking at me. I'm the oldest person here. I'm 71, right? No, one day, in 10 years, that's going to be you.
But I grew up here, so I saw it happening.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I also understand from their perspective. It's a bit of a shock. You had all those things years ago. You had the jazz clubs, the comedy clubs. Bleecker Street was thriving. McDougal Street thriving. People were pouring in here. Look at Little Italy. Those restaurants are not staying open until the wee hours of the morning like they used to. Now, Chinatown, yes, but not Little Italy. So I understand.
Even Chinatown, actually. I drove through there recently. I was saying, where's all the late night restaurants?
Wohop.
I
got to hit Wohop 1
on
in
Mott
the basement.
Street. I wasn't sure if I saw Wohop open.
You want to bust somebody's stones? Because the waiters there are horrific. They treat everybody like they're people of no consequence.
Well, some people like that.
I say, hey, buddy, I want a bowl of chop suey. He looks at me and goes, what the hell is chop suey? Remember, well, wait a second.
You plick.
Yeah, but see that, I date you. But it used to be, especially Jewish people, Sunday nights would go to the local chop suey joint.
Yes,
it said chop suey outside.
How could they not know what chop suey is?
Well, I've heard of chop suey. I've never had it.
And basically, it's whatever's left over in the Chinese restaurant. They chop it all together, and that's chop suey. I used to love chop suey.
Like Hong Kong Phooey, the cartoons.
I remember him. And I know the word chop suey. I've just never had it.
Yeah, but
I think it's an American invention, right? They don't eat it in China.
A Chinese waiter at Wohop, where they feel that they're entitled to treat you like the soup Nazi. Yeah. I mean, imagine the soup Nazi. Hey, pal, I want a bowl of chop suey. What the hell is chop suey?
All right.
Well, some people like to be mistreated, it's as part of the fun. Like Steve Rubell used to berate people outside of Studio 54.
You're absolutely correct.
It was part of the fun.
You know what? They wouldn't let me in because I was from the BQE, from Brooklyn, Queens. We don't allow people like yourself into Studio 54.
The schools.
Yes.
My entire life, I've heard that they're going to fix the schools in New York. They tried this, they tried that, more money. This policy, open corridor, getting rid of phonics, nothing works. Is there actually a way to fix the schools, or is it simply about parents getting their act together and making their kids do their homework and stuff?
Well, look, a lot of families are dysfunctional. Nobody wants to talk about that. A lot of these children have almost nobody at home to give them guidance, but it can be remedied. First off, when I went to public school in the 60s, you had troubled kids. They didn't call them troubled kids. They put them in a 600 school. Oh, boy. But you had after-school center, right? So after school, 3 to 5, you hung around. In the center, the teachers were able to augment their income. They got extra pay. And it wasn't all sports. I was the jock, but I would say 90% of the youngsters were into theater, music, dance, culture.
So they had the gay kids there too, Periel, but go ahead.
They used to give you the instruments for a band and orchestra. They don't do that anymore. So then you went home to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You come back for night center, 7 and 9, to keep you out of harm's way. A lot of culture. And then they had English classes for immigrants, which we should be having now because everything on a computer is English. And the schools, you would have Saturday Center that was open from 9 to 5. They were closed on Sundays. But the school was the epicenter of activity. It stimulated. Teachers were able to augment their income. And then one day they decided, that's it, 5 o'clock, everything gets shut down. Kids can't even go into the playground any longer because they lock it up. And the weekends, you have no activities taking place in the public schools. We're already paying for them. Mm-hmm. Make use of the public schools for the whole community. That's how you get the community more involved in vocational training. A lot of my cousins, if they hadn't gone to East New York High School, would have been doing time upstate making license plates because they were on a bad path. They learned a trade. They became carpenters, electricians, plumbers, ended up with their own small businesses, raised families, had small businesses, because most kids are not prepared to deal with an academic load, especially when we had regents. They've discontinued that. There used to be 3 diplomas in the 60s. You had the general diploma through social promotion, which meant you inhaled and exhaled. Okay, just keep promoting it. You had regents, you had to be good with academics. And then you had vocational. We have so few vocational high schools. Do you realize the number one demand that we're not satisfying is the number of home health care aides we need to develop?
Right.
Because we're an aging community. And I know maybe in 10 years, I need somebody who's not just going to change my bedpan and turn the sheets, but somebody who's going to understand the psychology of an elderly person, like I saw with my mother when she aged. And every day I get a call, Curtis, are you my son? Yes, Mom, I'm your son. You better come over here because she stole my money. It's a nice Haitian woman, spoke Creole mostly, but she imagined she was stealing money. Then I come to the house and I find where she forgot where she left her money. She'd be so apologetic, and then a few days later, the same thing all over again. There's such a need to develop people who can handle us when we get older and we have our problems. Because certainly, God forbid, Andy Cuomo ever became mayor, you wouldn't want to be assigned to a long-term nursing home care unit. If you had COVID, that's it, lights out.
That business is so dominated by Caribbean women.
Curtis, they're eating the dogs.
And Filipino women. I just wonder why it's interesting to me.
First off, Filipino best nurses. I've been in the hospital. I've had colitis, ileitis, Crohn's disease. And let me tell you something. I'd rather get shot 5 times again with hollow point bullets than Crohn's disease. It is the worst. I've had prostate cancer. Every time I've been in the hospital, from Bellevue to Columbia Presbyterian, the doctor comes in with the schmuck on, and he's got the clipboard. The Filipino nurse comes in and says, Curtis, don't listen to anything he says. What the hell he's talking about. I know what you need. I know what meds you should be. The nurses know everything. The doctors know, we say in Italian, ugats. In Yiddish, bubkis. The nurses keep that hospital.
Now, aren't you like for Eastern European origin?
Polish. My father's side, my mother's side, Bares.
Bares?
Bares. Andrea, near the Adriatic Sea.
Okay.
Southern Italy. What do you mean? Paris. Do I look?
No, I thought Bares. I don't know what you were saying.
Oh, Bares.
Oh, okay.
See, a guy in Stanford where Bobby Valentine came from, a real Italian stallion.
You're not supposed to say that.
Candace Owens is also from Stanford, by the way.
I think I intimidate him, if you notice.
That's not hard. You're not supposed to say anything nice about one ethnicity because it implies another one might not be the same. But I have to say, I've had the same experience with Filipino nurses.
The best.
When my father was dying, when I've had some tests, I had an au pair. You cannot find a bad egg among these people, just compassionate and kind and friendly, as if she really cared about me. You know, you're only going to see me once for 20 minutes. Are you okay? It's an amazing quality.
Well, my mother's aide, we were at a Rosh Hashanah dinner, and my mother's aide was there, who's Filipino, and one of the guests was married to a man. It's a man married to another man. And so I explained it to her, and she said, "You mean he's a gay?" So they're good nurses, but maybe not politically correct.
All right. Any other questions for him about the future of New York? What about congestion pricing?
Kill it. Kill it. Congestion. Do you know how many empty storefronts there are now south of 60th Street? When I talk to the merchants who used to have the storefronts, they say, "Curtis, I had to give up the lease. I don't have enough foot traffic. I can't pay the bills." In addition, the shoplifters keep coming in and out and taking what little I still have left, so I had to close up. A complete disaster, congestion. It's another tax. They pick your pockets. It's what government does. They want to tax you from the cradle to the grave. They even want to sell you a garbage can in New York City. This is the ultimate in chutzpah. You can't buy your own garbage can. Hey, I'll go to Home Depot or go to a local mom and pop shop, hardware stuff. No. You buy your garbage can from us. It's like private cars used to be when Vinny the Chin controlled Greenwich Village and Bleecker Street. Your garbage gets picked up from us, or else we bend your leg and stuff it in your pocket. You mean to tell me I can't get my own garbage can? Nope. You must buy it from the city. How much does it cost? $50 plus tax? I can get that for $22 at Home Depot. No, you must buy it from us, a provider in North Carolina with a no-bid contract, and whenever government has no-bid contracts, think kickbacks.
Yeah.
Who's getting wine dined in the parking lot? See, you asked me, what can I bring to City Hall? You can't buy me.
I didn't ask you that.
Wait
I'm
a
just
second.
kidding.
No, you didn't. I asked you.
Hold on a second.
No, she's shut up, Periel.
No.
She asked you that. Yeah, I don't know what she's.
Did I forget?
No. You're good.
I'm 71. I'm the oldest guy here.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
My father drove a cab. And from the money he made driving a cab, he managed to put enough money together to open his first coffee shop on 7th Avenue in 1960. The thought that anybody could earn enough money driving a cab today to open a small business, even a small business, is so absurd. But this is crucial if we want to...
Well, who owns all these little bodegas? I mean, these aren't rich people.
I don't know who owns it. I assume that people coming from Korea and they get their money not from working menial jobs. I don't know. But you can't even consider opening a coffee shop for less than close to $1 million.
And you know what you'll do for a good cup of coffee.
So what can be done to and you can go through every sector of our city that way. I used to live in a huge apartment when I was growing up. 2 huge bedrooms, huge living room, huge kitchen, for what would be equivalent today of like $1,500 a month rent on 100th Street, right? You couldn't touch apartments like that now for like less than $10,000 a month rent. So everything has gone in this direction of really only for the very wealthy.
And that's why Zoran Mandami has done well.
But what can really be done to take this bull by the horns and bring it back to some sort of reasonable...
Well, I think the billionaires have to understand their day is past. Nobody likes them. I don't like them. I'm the Republican, right? I'm the one saying, hey, billionaires, you're not going to pick who the next mayor is. Mm-hmm. You understand you create jobs, yes. You create wealth. You create equity by investment. We understand that. But you act so arrogant, so omnipotent, like only you and you alone guys know. Yeah, you know Wall Street, but you know nothing about the streets and average blue-collar working-class people and the problems that they have. Maybe you came from a background where that was, but you forgot all about it. So I think we have to bring everybody back to the center and understand if you don't take care of your workers, if you don't take care of the people that have helped make you a wealthy man or wealthy woman whose now family gets to live on a blind trust and never have to work a day in their life, you better make sure, you better start listening to your people howling that they can't make ends meet, and stop talking about how this is great that you've collected all this wealth in the world. Now, I'm not Mandami who says take the money from the billionaires, but there's got to be a way where we bring them back to reality to understand what average everyday people are suffering through, because they are suffering, and they seem to be oblivious to that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't agree with that. I see it I think we're relying on the millionaires and the billionaires now for our tax base. I see the problems as more difficult to attack than that. Not enough houses, the regulations, the amount of time we spend as a business now on compliance.
Yes.
Compared to what I saw my father go through, it had to be like 20 times.
Oh, and it's bureaucracy.
Yeah.
To the point where they will call you and some of the merchants on McDougal or Bleecker and say, hey, we're putting together this gathering. We'd like you to participate. Naturally, you're all for toots. It's like, oh, this is great. Finally, they have a working relationship for City Hall. So you go all out, and then you say, I have some abatement issues, and they give you a number, and every time you call that number, you're being introduced to Mr. Click. It's a one-way street. When I set up City Hall, it's a two-way street.
Well, that's what it needs.
It's got to be a two-way street. Look, you have client relationships. You don't take care of your clients, you're out of business. It's that simple. No matter what quality of your performance is in a comedy club, if you treat your clients like Drek, guess what? They ain't coming back because they have other options. Government feels that they're the only game in town. And that's why they feel they can treat people like Drek. I relate to people. I know what it's like to be treated like Drek. I want to make sure that the city is comprised of people who understand what their role is. It's supposed to be selfless servants instead of self-serving servants.
When you win, I want to have coffee with you. I want to tell you some stories about what we've been through. So I know you'll agree with me. Just like the little headlines, we were closed for like 7 or 8 months to move a cosmetic wall because of all the hoops we had. And by the time we reopened again, our business never recovered.
On a related note, sorry.
I sat on a property we bought around the corner. How long was it before we started? Hundreds of thousands of dollars just to carry the cost of this property, waiting for permits and rules. And
sure.
Well, you could defray some of it by advertising Kylie Jenner's clothing line on the walls.
Makeup.
The point is that
I'm just trying to lighten it up a little bit.
It's nobody but a wealthy person, which I'm veering towards now at this point in my life. My father certainly wasn't at 30 years old after I became. Right. Nobody but a wealthy person could do it. You have to have all that money, as opposed to the city saying, yeah, get it, and we'll get you open in 30 days.
Now, you know what we'll do? We'll have a nice coffee clutch down here.
Yeah.
We'll invite some of the other owners and operators, the merchants, the residents, and I'll regale you in stories of Vinny the Chin Gigante and the guy who used to be the consigliere, Benny Eggs Mangano. Benny Eggs, who would say to me, you see, Curtis, they come into the neighborhood, they cause a problem, they get a cast. I said, what do you mean, Benny? We break their arm, their leg. This way they walk around with a cast on, and everybody knows you don't come into here. We don't kill you. We make sure you have a cast, so everybody knows this is the price you get. Have you ever ordered tartufo in a restaurant?
Yes, I have.
But is that the chocolate-covered ice cream?
Yes, okay. That you get at the end. I bust the stones of owners and operators. I say, where'd you get that tartufo from? There's only one place you can get tartufo from, because Vinny the Chin made it that way. If you get outlier tartufo, it's a price to pay. So all of a sudden, restaurant owners, especially Italian restaurant owners, go, please, I don't want to go back to that time, Curtis. One time I brought in a shipment of tartufo from Edison, New Jersey. I got to tell you, I paid the price for that. Remember, get your tartufo from Bleecker Street.
No. These stories, like I said, when I was a little boy, my father had one of the first, or maybe the first, tabletop Pong games. You know, the Pong ideology right down here. And he had it. There was a quarter. And one of your friends walked in and said, hey, Manny, are you in the video game business or in the restaurant business? That's all he needed to say.
Wait, he didn't demand to put in the Joker poker machines in the back room?
No, he didn't demand them. And so the Pong table came right to our house. that was it. So now I don't long for those good old days. That was a bad.
No, but you
time.
see, that's how you get everybody to the coffee club.
Yes, but the stories are great. It was worth it for the great stories. Yes, Dan.
Well, you don't live in New York, but
my whole future's tough.
But would you vote for Curtis Sliwa?
Yes, I would vote for Curtis Sliwa.
Thank you. It took us how long for him to say that? Well, about 1 hour and 22 minutes for you to extract that from him.
All right.
And Noam doesn't vote anyway, typically.
No, I don't vote. Well, yeah. I hope that you win. If you don't win, I hope that Andrew Cuomo wins. And I don't have as negative opinion of him as you do. I think he's a moderate. My heart. He has my heart for one reason and one reason only. During the BLM riots, when de Blasio told the police basically to stand down, Cuomo was out there right away calling him a monster. He said, "What the hell's the matter with you?" I don't remember exactly what his words were. And that was the only time that a politician had actually stood up for what was my interests, which was we're boarding up our windows, we're checking our fire extinguishers, we're really worried about losing everything, and our governor at least smacked the mayor down.
From Albany, right?
From Albany.
You know where Curtis was? I'm going to give you that date. June 1st, June 2nd of 2020. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay.
Comrade Bill de Blasio, the part-time mayor, the dope from Park Slope, who loved to smoke Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush with his grifter wife Charlene on the back porch of Gracie Mansion, did order the police to stand back. And then remember, every piece of plywood in Home Depot first went up on Macy's and then every store going south. Through Soho, through every square inch. I stood with the Guardian Angels right across from NYU. We battled Black Lives Matter and Antifa. I had my jaw broken with a claw hammer.
Jesus.
At the time that Jerry the Whale Nadler, the congressman, was saying, Antifa is just a concept. Yeah. Joe Biden, it's just a theory. Yeah, what are you talking about, this jaw? So I remember what you were saying, but he did it from a safe distance. That's the difference between me and Andy.
No, I wasn't comparing him to you, but at least he did it. And,
can I promise you
melted
this?
My heart on that.
Can I promise you this?
Mom Donnie would have never done it.
If I don't win,
yeah,
and I intend on winning.
Yeah.
I sure hope you do.
But let's say Andrew Cuomo somehow wins. I will take a hot poker and impale my right eye. If Zoran Mandami wins, I will take a hot poker, and because he is further left, I will impale my left eye and be like the hunchback of Notre Dame, because I ain't leaving. Remember, in the great words of John Paul Jones, I have just begun to fight.
Curtis Sliwa,
no, but when you we're talking about around the corner, when is that scheduled to open?
Hopefully around the first of the year. And maybe we'll invite Mayor Sliwa.
Well, he could cut the ribbon.
Night. Maybe you could cut the ribbon. Yeah, we'd love that. We'd love that. All right, sir. Let's see what happens. I'm rooting for you. Of course, I've already betrayed that. I'm skeptical. I do think the polls are, usually indicate something, but my goodness, I'm completely charmed by you. And I really hope you pull it out. I really do. Curtis.
In honor of Robert Redford, who has passed to the hereafter, and Paul Newman, you keep thinking that, Butch. You keep thinking that.
All right. Good night, everybody.